Hello, y'all. I'm back again for another live. And this live is going to be about narcissists and text messaging. And of course, this is part eight, y'all. Part eight. I'm really on a roll with these narcissists and text messaging. And I've done part one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. And now this is part eight. So, of course, this is like a soap opera. The story keeps going on and on. So, this one is going to cover more of the married man. Okay. So, in my narcissist and text messaging lives, I've been talking about different situations because remember, everything is like on a case by case basis. Thank you so much for the like. And please feel free to put something in the chat or in the comments on the live as well. So, for y'all that are just coming in, narcissism and text messaging part eight. This is part eight. So, this is going to be more of the married man. Now, remember, I blocked this man. I blocked his work phone number. His work phone number. That's the phone number that he was using to target me on. He had been sending me text messages from a work phone number going back to February of 2025 before I even knew whose phone number it was. Okay. So most of the texts I ignored. I definitely caught myself when I found myself responding on the work phone. And this is the thing, y'all, when you've known people a very long time, you have to remember I knew this man since childhood, and I've known him before he knew his current wife. Okay. And if there's any flaw in this that I'll say that I may have, is that I don't go around a lot, y'all. I'm just going to be honest. It's real easy for somebody's husband to decide, well, she don't have a man. I'll just make her my side chick. It's easy to do that because I'm not around him and his wife and his children. And that's because I have my own family that I need to be focused on, not somebody else's family. I'm not the type of lady where I'm all up in somebody else's face. Okay, so if there's anything I could look back and say I could work on, is maybe going around him and his wife and the kids more often. But I got to handle my business over here. I have a YouTube channel, I have sons, I have a household, and I do not have a man. So I am probably making the best decision not to be in somebody's house that often. So that's just the reality of it. There's transportation issues. I changed my transportation forms, and actually changing my form of transportation, which would be inclusive of catching Ubers more, has kept me away from a lot of narcissists, y'all, because I can't get to these narcissists in the way that I used to. So it's kept me under a very safe environment, and I'm actively going out and doing what I need to do. Thank you so much for the likes, y'all. So let me check the chat here. Hello to Lucas the Goldie 57, and then hello to Retro Bogu, Retro Bogu, and then hello to Janie Bonilla. So Retro Bogu, this is the first time that I know of that you left me a chat or a message. So I find that, I don't know what it is when people be asking to be a moderator. Thank you so much for asking. But I'm not asking for a moderator right now, but my suggestion is if you really want to be somebody's moderator, kind of make yourself known. Like, you don't want to be the type of person the first time I ever notice you or hear from you, you asking me for something, right? And y'all don't think it's silly to ask to be a moderator, because you can put that on your resume. If this person was allowed to be my moderator, even having a YouTube channel, it's all resume material. I could add my YouTube channel on my resume and get be open to a lot of jobs, y'all. You'll be surprised. So Retro, Bogu, I'm not trying to be rude, but why do you want to be my moderator? Why? What's your reason? Because there has to be a reason. That would be like me walking outside and somebody saying, "Can I take you to the store? Can I give you a ride?" Why do they want to give me a ride? Why do they want to take me somewhere? And they just met me as soon as I walk out my door. Does that sound safe? Because you got to remember, when you make somebody your moderator, you're giving them a certain level of access to your channel or to this channel. So why would I do that? And this is the first time you left me a comment. Think about that. See, we got to think about this stuff before we go asking people for stuff. We really do. But thank you for offering, though. I appreciate it. So anyway, this video is going to be about narcissists and text messaging, part 8. And it's going to be more of the married man. Okay. So the thing is this. What happens with people? I just uploaded a live about narcissistic males as well. So married men, especially Black men, most of them will be very highly narcissistic. And I'll say especially Black men because I'm not really hanging out with a lot of white men. Okay, I don't date white men. I'm not saying I wouldn't never date one, but I don't date white men. My pastor, he's Norwegian, but I'm not dating my pastor, right? My pastor's a married man. So Black men, usually, whether they single or married, a lot of them will not be actual empaths. They're highly narcissistic. They're males that it's like their narcissism makes them lack understanding of boundaries, especially when it comes to girls and ladies. And when I say girls, I'm talking about me, big girls. I'm always a girl. I told y'all this once before. So narcissism and text messaging, this is part 8, more of the married man situation. So let me go in here because I give y'all real live facts. So when I go in here to the so he called me yesterday once again from the work phone. And remember, even though the work phone is blocked, I can still see that he's calling, but it will show a circle that's blue and a blue line through it. But I won't hear him calling. So with this new technology thing, if you don't want to see they call at all, I think you have to call your phone carrier. You have to call your cell phone carrier and get it done that way. And I think for some cell phone carriers, there is a charge for that. I'm not getting ready to pay my cell phone carrier so I don't see his number. I'm just not getting ready to do that. I'm not paying a dime to stop it. The most I'm gonna do is block the work phone number so that I cannot hear it when it rings, and then I can delete the work phone number from my call log. That's all I'm gonna do. However, this was at 10 o'clock a.m. yesterday, which would have been Friday, January 2nd, 2026. So it came in around the same time, 10 a.m. Remember, I told you the same time, and that's probably when he goes on his break at work. And it's also when he's not with his wife. Because repeatedly calling me from his work phone, and stopping altogether with contacting me from their marital phone number is being sneaky behind his wife back. It just is what it is. But I've gone quite a while without answering the work phone number that he calls me from. So that's been quite a while. I think I went all the way back to like the 16th. Yeah. So on the 16th of December, on one of those lives, I think it was part 6 or 7, probably part 7 is when I blocked the married man's work phone number. And y'all got to go back and watch those lives, because I also give you the reason why not to talk to a married person and tell them what they're doing. So in those other lives, I tell you why not to confront married people. Okay, I'm not going to tell you that here now because I want you to watch those lives. I really want you to, when I'm doing part 8, you got to remember, like, I'm granting my time to y'all and stuff like that. So when I'm doing this many parts to any series or episodes that I'm doing, I really want y'all to go watch those other parts. And on this channel, it's like a radio show. So you can actually be in your vehicle and just be playing this on your in your vehicle, just like you would do if you listen to a song on the radio. Or like people do when they on their way to work and they listening to the news shows and the radio shows and the gospel shows. With this channel here, you don't need to see it. All you need to do is hear it. Okay. So you could be blind and everything and still be hearing me. Okay. So of course, this is Narcissist and Text Messaging Part 8, more of the married man. So yesterday he called me from their work phone, same time. And this is the thing, the grooming process when you're dealing with a highly narcissistic male, especially a black one. One of the things that I notice about especially black males, and it's something that I try to work with my sons on, okay? Because my sons are black males as well, and they will have narcissistic traits. They are still black males. It's best to try to teach them at a very young age so they don't grow up and act like these clowns, okay? So narcissistic married men, they don't respect their wives, and they do not respect ladies that they consider not to have a man. So this is the corrupt part that happens to a narcissistic married man. When he was single, they live a lot different. They roaming around, fucking everybody, coming on everybody. This particular married man even brags and laughs about, he says some chick was giving him head in a transportation vehicle, rolled by and could see what the lady was doing, giving him head. Now, to me, that's not funny. To me, that's very humiliating what that particular lady went through. But at that time, he was young, she was young, but it ain't nothing funny about it. Okay, it's not nothing funny about a transportation service riding by and them seeing his penis, or this particular girl, he said, that was this young lady or whatever, sucking his thing. This is the story that he also told me about, and he thinks it's funny because, narcissistic men, they think they past is funny. I told y'all on one live, even my aware narcissist, he used to be a pimp between the ages of like 18 and 23 or 24, and he kicked this prostitute in the head and would act like he felt sorry about it. This was my aware narcissist. But many years later, through me keeping just minimal contact with him, he laughed and said she liked it. Narcissistic men are out their fucking mind. This is what they need to do to soothe themselves, To make themselves feel better, they gotta laugh about the old cruel, dirty stuff that they did to ladies. And I told that aware narcissist, not this married man, but the one I was actually in a relationship with, when he laughed about kicking that prostitute in the head, she was on the ground begging for her life, basically. I told him, I said, your mother should have aborted you. Now, later last year, because this is the new year, of course, he sends me beautiful photos of his mother. Because I guess my aware ex narcissist want to show me this is my beautiful mother. She didn't abort me. Okay, so good. She didn't abort you. That's fine. Because narcissistic men, they do stuff like this to try to trigger you. His mother is beautiful. Okay, but I'm just trying to explain to you what narcissistic men do. And they're really what HG Tudor would call them. They're lesser narcissists. They're low-level narcissists that really have no control. I'm calling them narcissistic males because I'm being kind of nice. But the expert, HG Tudor, he actually calls them lesser narcissists. So he calls them lesser, lower range. I think there's a lesser middle range and a lesser upper range. The lesser upper range, they're still all lessers, but there's 3 different categories of them. The lesser upper range, that's the one that could basically kind of keep a job. But all the other lessers, whether they be the lesser lower range, lesser middle range, they're lunatics. So I'm calling these people narcissistic males just so I can have my own way of wording things. But HG Tudor, he calls them lesser narcissists, and he has a disdain for them. And he considers them full-blown narcissists. So what I'm calling a narcissistic male, an actual expert calls them a full-blown narcissist, but has 3 categories of narcissists. You got the lesser narcissist, the middle narcissist, and the greater narcissist. Okay, so with that being said, narcissistic males a lot of times will be married. Okay, my ex-aware narcissist that I was actually in a relationship with, he had been married twice. I'm the blessed one because I didn't marry him. I'm lucky, okay, because I didn't have to go through 15, 20 years of trauma like his wives did. Okay, I was a traumatized wife too, ex-wife. I'm not married anymore, but I was married to another narcissist, not my aware narcissist. So anytime you're with anybody that's narcissistic and you don't, end up in a marriage with them, you're in a very blessed situation. So let me see. I have a comment here. The Kenya Millen. Yeah, thank you so much for the 2 explanation points and the wow. I sure did. I think you saying that because I told that aware narcissist his mother should have aborted him. I sure did. I think that's when you put that. I did because all them years he acted like he was sad and that he felt some kind of way for kicking that young prostitute that he was supposedly pimping in her head, knocked her to the ground. I mean, the woman could have died, right? Finally, he ended up telling me her name. And then while he was on the phone with me, the devil told him to just laugh about it. He said she liked it. No, she didn't. That's why she was screaming for him to stop. He also told me that part. She was begging him to stop. And it was over money. I guess he was kicking her in her head, and he describes kicking her in her head while she's on the ground, but you also have to remember this or use your logic. They're not telling you the whole situation. So remember, he had to put her on the ground as well. He's the reason she gets to the ground, whether it's because he pushed her, punched her in her face, picked her up and slammed her. He put her on the ground too. I never commented about that part. I'm just giving you an example of how narcissistic males, and they will be very comfortable telling me the story. And they're not comfortable telling me the stories because I'm another narcissist. It's just that they know I'm a good listener. They know I'm empathic, so I'm going to have compassion for both people involved. They know I'm going to give the right advice. They know that I'm going to commend them for no longer being a pimp. It's good you got out of that line of work. Because this is how I talk to narcissistic men. If one of them tell me what they did in their past and they was a prior pimp decades and decades ago, way before they met me, I'm going to let them know it's good you got out of that line of work. Because you fuck around and do that to me, I'm going to do something to you. Yeah, it's good you out of that line of works because you better not put me on the ground and kick me in my head. That's all I got to say. So, and I let them know that, I don't give narcissistic men that kind of control. And the thing is, narcissistic men, they're not my sons. So I'm not gonna be able to change these men per se. They're older, they're full-blown adults. I'm not their mother. Most narcissistic men, unless you get them very young in their teens and youth, most of them don't listen to their mother. Okay. And most of them, narcissistic men, what you teach them, you could teach your narcissistic son, do not use drugs, do not drink. Once they out your house, they gonna do what the fuck they want to do. You could teach them not to have weapons illegally. A narcissistic male is going to do whatever he wants to do. You just got to make sure that those particular type of sons are not doing it in your residence. So anyway, that's the type of stuff that I'm trying to give you an example of narcissistic males. And in this case, this is Narcissism Text Messaging Part 8. So let's get back to the married man, y'all. The married man that I've been discussing. It's only one married man that I've been discussing. So he continues to call me from this work phone. And like I said, narcissistic Black males, they will struggle to stop the behavior. And that's because they're always asserting control. Okay, so it's hard to think about logically what to do when I'm always trying to, or someone, me or you or someone else, if we're the type of person, we're always trying to assert control over someone else, it's going to be hard for us to logically do the right thing. And that's why I do not do that. See, when you go complete no contact with narcissistic people in general, you're, in some sense, you're asserting control, but because you're not a narcissist, you're not asserting control, you're protecting yourself. It's a protection. But it's a form of asserting control of your own life because it's withdrawal. So withdrawing from a situation is getting control of it too, but for different reasons. When you're empathic, you're doing it as a form of self-protection. Okay, so going back to narcissism text messaging, this is part 8 with this married man. He calls me from the work phone again, that he's sneaking behind his wife back. I don't hear the call, so I don't answer it. Once I block somebody, I'm not in general answering their calls. So what he does, he makes that call yesterday, which would have been Friday at about 10 a.m. So he sees since about going back to December 16th, I am not answering none of the calls from his work number. So now he wants to test me. Narcissistic men too. Another reason to kind of get them out of your life is because they're constantly testing you. They're worse than an aware narcissist. Okay. An aware narcissist, hold on, y'all. Let me plug this speaker up. An aware narcissist at some point will assert control by withdrawing. Okay. An aware narcissist will actually do that. But because a narcissistic male, especially black males, because they are lesser narcissists, they don't have good sense. So when you're interacting with them, it's almost like you interacting with somebody that's kind of slow, but they are not slow. That's why they can have the good jobs and go to the great schools. They're not actually mentally slow. It's just that their narcissism keeps kicking in to tell them to assert control. So, what they have is not slowness, they have a personality disorder. They're not really crazy in the way that you think, they're not slow, they're not really retarded. Their narcissism is telling them to keep asserting control over you. And I've learned this through studying H.G. Tudor work, and he is right. And so, because I've learned that information, I understand why this married narcissistic male continues to contact me. He continues to do it because his narcissism is telling him to do it. In some spiritual aspects, some people may say that his demon is telling him to do it. If you look at it from a spiritual realm, people would say he has a demon on him that's telling him to do it. But I'm going to describe it as a personality disorder. His narcissism is firing off. It's misfiring is what it's doing, because he's not thinking, he's not using logic. So what he does, he ends up, yesterday he makes a call from that work phone, and of course that work phone is blocked, and I don't think he can see that. Sometimes they can tell if you've blocked them through text messaging, because their text message will come back and it will say, we weren't able to send this text message. But most of the time, they can't tell through phone call. Sometimes when you block somebody, it'll go to voicemail on the first ring. I don't know what he gets since he's blocked, but let me go in here and tell you when the next call he made, because he made that one at 10 o'clock from the work phone number. So then this is the next move he made. And I must say against me, because he's behaving more like an enemy. So what he does, he's like, his narcissism tells him, this is the married man, y'all, more of the married man, narcissism, text messaging part 8. So his narcissism tells him, I've been calling Irene since December 16th, not getting through. And I'm just going from when I blocked him. Okay. Because that was around the time he lied and said his wife is going to be going out of the country for 2 years and she's abandoning the whole family. He told that lie. So I don't confront him and tell him it's a lie. See, this is the thing you got to understand. Okay. If I was having an affair with a married man, I would behave differently. Okay. But because I am not having an affair with this married man, my behavior should not be the same like I'm having an affair. So if a lady is having an affair with a married man, they're in a relationship, okay, an intimate one, and sometimes they be together more than they be with their own wife, okay? If I was having an affair with a married man and I caught him in a lie, I would confront that married man, maybe. But because I'm not having an affair with this married man, what I'm not going to do is start acting like he my man. And this is the thing with narcissistic married men. They always targeting ladies, new ladies and ladies of their past, and ladies they used to be with, ladies they didn't used to be with. They consider us a target because they think in their sick mind that somebody's upset because they don't have a man. Some ladies are. They may be upset, but I'm not one of them. I wouldn't want to be in his wife's situation. All I can think is, I'm so glad this not my husband, because I'm not the one he's sneaking around on. He's sneaking around on his wife. His wife is the one that's being betrayed the most, because she the one got a whole demon on her hand that's faking a facade like he's a good married man. And that's what narcissistic married men do. They pretend, and you could see it. Any woman, any lady or girl like me that has the type of intuition I have, when I went to their last event, the middle of last year, I could see his facade. I really could. This particular married man, remember I told you I'm friends with him and his wife. I could see the facade. I could see the fakeness. It's beginning to show on this narcissistic married man. It really is. It's beginning to show. Now, he calls me from their marital phone number at almost 3 p.m. Okay. Now, I could have answered that, but I didn't. I was doing things. I was busy. Another thing, okay, I want to explain to you. Married men, narcissistic married men, they don't have much empathy for you. Okay, so I'm a lady without a man. So he always calling me during daytime hours. Hours when I'm at work, hours when I should be making my business phone calls. See, narcissistic married men, if they have a wife that works from home or has some flexibility, they have adult kids, a lot of times other relatives are making their phone calls for them. But in my case, when somebody is constantly interrupting me during business hours, and I'm talking about from 9 a.m., we'll say 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can say 9 to 6 p.m., 8 to 5. Let's say 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. because a lot of businesses do close at 5 p.m. So he's calling me at 10 a.m. from his work phone. I didn't answer. Now he's calling me from their marital phone number at almost 3 p.m. yesterday. This was Friday. This is during business hours. But a narcissistic married man, he doesn't have any empathy for me because he views being single like it's some fun walk in the park type of thing. See, he's been married so long. This particular married man, I'm their family friend, okay? He's been married so long that the way he perceives single life is like a teenager would. So understanding this will kind of help you not get so mad with these kind of people. He's viewing single life like he did when he thought it was ha ha he when he had one of his girlfriends giving him a blowjob in the transportation company. It was like a bus or train or something rolled by, and people could look down and see what the girl was doing. It sounds like it was very humiliating for that girl, but it's funny to the narcissistic man. So see, a narcissistic married man, he doesn't have any remorse for his past. Okay. Now, I also want to point this out. When I brought up the aware narcissist that I used to be with, I also at some point told him it was a blessing that he came into the world. Okay. So I provide love and discipline. So when he was laughing and thought it was funny, and he said that the prostitute liked being kicked in the head and thought that was funny. He said this to me over the phone. He thought it was ha ha he. And I just calmly said, your mother should have aborted you. That's it. I don't cuss him out. I don't do all that. I just state the fact. Now, at some point, when he started behaving like he felt sorry about what he did, I then said, it's a blessing you came in the world. I did. But see, with narcissistic men, I give them the little cookie treat or the little reward I dangle before them when they behave well. No different than a dog. You got to treat narcissistic males like dogs. When you behave properly, because think about it. If you owned a dog, do you give the dog a doggy treat when he acts like he gonna attack the babies in the crib, in the infant? When the babies that's in the baby bed, if your pit bull act like he gonna attack the babies in the baby bed, do you get a pit bull a treat or do you discipline the pit bull? I think most people gonna snatch that pit bull because you can't act like you're scared of a pit bull. Same way with narcissistic males. Most people gonna snatch that pit bull by his collar and say, "Get off the babies." They don't get a doggy treat because the pit bull is acting like a narcissistic male. So he don't get a doggy treat when he acts like he gonna attack the baby. Same way with narcissistic males. And the ladies and males that treat narcissistic males that way, that's why they kill. See, that's when you turning them into a full-blown lesser narcissist. So he's gonna go just plumb crazy and he gonna shoot up everybody in the house because you done gave a narcissistic male too many doggy treats for bad behavior. You cannot do that. You cannot do that with an animal. A narcissistic male is just like an animal, y'all. Consider him an animal. You might have better luck with your dog. You might be able to train your pit bull. But you trying to train a narcissistic male, good luck. And most of my training I do with them, I do over the phone. Especially when they're not my son. I do my little training over the phone. But going back to this narcissist and text messaging part 8, more of this married man that I'm friends with, he don't care about my life because he views single life like it's wild, like you can intrude on it, like it's boring, like as if you're like a sitting duck. But see, this is the thing. The way I live my single life is almost similar to someone that's married, that's living a safe life. So say someone has a husband and wife and they live a safe life and they got sons, daughters, maybe all sons, or a mixture of both. They don't allow any and everybody in their house if they're married because they're protecting their children. I do the same thing. Most of my friends and companions will be married because I actually live more of a married woman's life. Because see, as a lady that is unmarried, I'm not wild. I don't run the streets. I'm not wild. I'm not on no drugs. I'm not just because the children are not at home. I'm not trying to bring no narcissistic men in my house so that my children come home and I'm laid up here dead because one of them done killed me. Narcissistic males also, I'm learning this more as I get older. I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Narcissistic males, they need to be supervised. Okay. So I just had a recent situation. I'm going to do a video about that later. I had a narcissistic male on speakerphone, and he was cool and calm because he knew my sons were downstairs. Once he knew my sons had went to bed and they were upstairs, it was a situation about the pervert situation where we had the debate because a lady said that his comment was perverted, and I agreed with her. I told him, I said, I agree with that. You're making comments about her breast that is perverted. So that narcissistic male, he started yelling and saying, I'm not no fucking misogynist. I'm not no pervert. I'm not no fucking. He was like hollering at me. But he knew that my sons had went upstairs and went to bed. So what I'm finding is if you're going to have any communications with narcissistic males, and you may want to develop, this in general. Like when I'm talking to males, I want to have people around. You might want to just go full blown strict on it. But what I'm finding, the older I get, narcissistic males need to be supervised. And that don't stop them. Narcissistic males, when you're dating them, they will argue with you in front of your parents, your family members. Some of them will kill you and your family members because, like HG Tudor would call them, they're lesser narcissists. I'm just kind of being nice saying they narcissistic. Okay. So I'm just saying there's a small level of empathy there. And maybe they don't fit the criteria of being diagnosed as a narcissist. But keep in mind, these so-called narcissistic males that I'm talking about, HG Tudor would call them lesser narcissists, and in some cases, mid-range narcissists. This particular narcissistic married man that I'm speaking of, he may qualify as a lesser upper narcissist because he's able to work, or maybe he would qualify as mid-range, but mid-range can sometimes come up with some level of control about themselves. A mid-ranger might stop calling me from that work phone. A mid-range narcissist or a greater narcissist may be a little bit more savvy and be able to come up with other things to do. And this one tried it. This narcissistic married man, he started calling me from their marital phone number. Now, if I would have answered it, these people are predictable at this point. So if I would have answered it, he called me at 2:46 p.m. yesterday. So if I would have answered it, what he would have done was talk to me for about 15 minutes. He wouldn't have stayed on that call long, or he would have stayed on the call for an hour or two. It could have went either way. He could have talked to me for an hour. He could have talked to me for 15 minutes. But because I don't answer his work phone, because this narcissistic married man, because I don't answer his work phone, and because I don't answer those good morning texts that he's been texting me for days and days and days and months that I don't reply to, he has a anger towards me. So what this particular married narcissistic male does, now he wants to play with me and toy with me. So now he wants to play childish games. And that's why he says, that his wife abandoned the whole family and will be gone for 2 years. And what this does, it harms my family relationship with them, right? Because it makes me feel uncomfortable to go around. There's events that the kids will have coming up that I would like to attend. I'm someone that drops in here and there, and I attend the kids' stuff, while he's steadily not supporting my children. Okay. So that's another thing, narcissistic males, they want all the support while they don't support you at all. That's basically how it rolls. It's not a healthy situation, and it's not a good situation at all. So I don't want to get off this live, but I do need to pay on one of my bills. Okay. So I got more to say on this live, so I don't want to get off the live, y'all. So hold on. Please forgive me. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much. I love all the comments and chats here. I appreciate it so much. Hold on just 1 second, y'all. Because I need to make a payment. This business closes at 5 p.m. and I need to make a payment. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'll take a break because I don't see anybody pending in the live right now. People are going to come back in a minute. Yes, I can. You're welcome. I'm on hold, y'all, so I can just start. I can finish doing the live. Yeah. So narcissistic males will be married men, and these will be hard ones, y'all, because thank you for holding. How can I help you today? I want to make a payment. Yes, and just 1 month. How are you doing, Cielo? I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Oh yeah, take your time. You're welcome. Yeah, so y'all, I'm on hold to pay this bill too. I didn't want to have to get off the live, but this business closes at 5 p.m. So yeah, so in general, you got to understand what people's position is in your life. So a narcissistic married man, not your pastor, not nothing like that. Okay, a narcissistic married man. And you know what? I'm going to take the time and give you an example of how it would work with a empathic married man. I'm going to tell you about a situation that I was in like many, many years ago with a narcissistic, not an empathic married man. He was actually a prior pastor at this really great church that I used to go to. Sure was. And I'm going to tell you how different that was. Okay. And how of a beautiful outcome that was for any single lady, married or single, that was in the church. He looked out for all of us. Okay. So, narcissistic married men, especially one that's out of control, that starts crossing boundaries, they're an intrusion in your life. Okay. So for a lady, it's an intrusion. Usually not much good will come out of it. Okay, so not much good will usually come out of it. As a lady without a man, a narcissistic married man that's crossing boundaries, I don't want to develop his habits. Okay. He has very bad habits and is negative in areas that I'm trying to be positive in. They're not a great support system. Like, for example, even when he calls, that's not supportive. Calling me every day during business hours when I don't have a man, that's not helping me. Everybody's at work and at school and out and about. Who else is making these phone calls? I can't make them all day because I got to work as well. I got things I got to do. I got jobs I got to do. I got chores I got to do. So it's just not good for my schedule in general. There's no prosperity. Interacting with a married man over the phone, hanging out with him too much, it's no prosperity. For a lot of like mistresses and side chicks, I don't like using that word mistress because I found out what a true mistress really is, y'all. That used to be the slave master wife. A mistress is actually not a side chick. She was the slave master's wife. So I really using that word is kind of troubling to me. So we'll just call it a side chick or an affair partner.
Thank you for holding. And do you have a credit card on file with us?
I'm not sure if it's on file. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. I'm giving my card number to the bill that I'm paying. So I'll be back in just a second. Hold on, y'all, on my live. Okay, y'all, I got that business taken care of. And I apologize. I didn't want to have to get off the live, y'all. So I get somebody went away. But I'm giving the reasons that being around a narcissistic male or you also for I said this in one of my other videos because this is narcissist and text messaging part 8, y'all. The married man, more of this married man. It's one married man, the family friend. This is more of this one married man that I'm talking about. For narcissism and text messaging part 8. This is part 8, okay? It's not good for any unmarried woman to be in the wrong contact with a narcissistic married man or the wrong married man, and it's because it's affecting the energy field of her life. See, this is what I truly believe, and I've said this kind of before, but I'll explain it a little better here. Okay, so this is what you always want to do. Any situation that you're in, there's benefits. Okay, it don't matter if you married, you got benefits. if you're not married, there's benefits. There's pros and cons to any situation. But without being married, there's a lot of pros. So, what I don't want to do is be unmarried and not live in that way. See, you want to always be accepting your blessing. So, the benefit of being unmarried is I don't have to be bothered with a narcissistic man. That's something that his wife got to put up with. It's the reason why a lot of ladies don't even want a husband. They rather be a side chick, especially if you're dating a wealthy married man. Some ladies choose to be a side chick or what they call a mistress, which back in slavery, the mistress was the master's wife. I feel very uncomfortable using that word now since I know that. It never sounded like a side chick role to me. The first time I ever heard the word mistress, it sounded more like a wife type name. So I watched some old videos during the pandemic and come to find out in slavery days, that's what Massa called his wife. She was mistress. She was his mistress. The master's wife, the slave master's wife that owned and abused Black people, his wife was his mistress. How sick. Ugh. Once you know more of history, even on the master bedroom, you know how you call, oh no, the master bathroom. You know how you call your bathroom the master bathroom? Master? That was the slave master's bathroom, y'all. Don't call your bathroom that no more. Unless you saying you the new master. I'm the new master now. I'm free. Now, if you want to look at it like that, that's different. But just understand the historical message of it. So some words, when I use it, I feel a conscience behind it now. So anyway, a narcissistic married man, especially that's showing the facade, there is chaos in his current situation. It just will be there. Okay, there will be chaos in his current situation. So, and it may not be a lot of it if it's a generally happy marriage, but I don't even feel comfortable. This is how I feel. Okay, me being a unmarried lady, I don't really want to talk to a man every day. It makes me feel like I'm in a relationship. So, you know, when I'm talking to a narcissistic married man and he calling me Monday through Friday, especially when he's calling me 10 a.m., 3 p.m. Also, another boundary crosser that he did that was sort of something he shouldn't do. So I'm going to give y'all a piece of advice here. Don't tell people where you work. Okay. And if you feel like you have to tell them a work location for certain reasons, give them the wrong location. So if you work for Home Depot, say you're a warehouse worker for Home Depot, a hardware store, tell them you work at Lowe's. Say, I work at Lowe's, dog. Or tell them you work at Walmart. Okay. And this is the reason I'm going to advise you of this. Narcissistic people don't have boundaries. So this is how I roll. With me, you can tell me where you work because I'm not going to come looking for you at your job. If you tell me you work at Walmart, you work at a specific car dealership, this is how I am. Even if I do business at those places. So if you work at the main Walmart that's nearby, and I know I shop at that Walmart, I'm not even going to tell you when I come in there. You know why? I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. So if you tell me you work at Walmart, I'm not going to tell you I'm in the Walmart unless you say, you know, Irene, come by at noon. I got some coupons for you. Can you meet me at noon on Saturday? I got some special coupons I want to give out to you. And it gotta be coupons that you're allowed to give out. I don't want no coupons you done stole to give me a discount. I don't want none of that because I don't want you putting your job at risk, and it's just not the righteous thing to do. So, but in general, if it's not a situation like that, then if you tell me you work at Walmart, I might say something like, "Oh, I go in there sometimes." I would mention that I shop there. You know, I would say that to let you know that I support where you work. So if you tell me you work at Walmart, and I know a manager that works at Walmart, right? She used to work over here at one of the other stores. I know her and her husband, and it's crazy because she manages Walmart, and she's one of Crystal Bram relatives, y'all. The lady that got killed by the chief of police on the West Coast, and they changed her last name. That's a whole nother story, but you'll be surprised who you meet, y'all. So anyway, if you tell me you work at Walmart, I might say, oh yeah, I shop at that Walmart, but I'm not gonna tell you when I'm coming in. And you know what I'm not gonna do? I'm not gonna ask for you when I come to that Walmart because you ain't told me to do that. You ain't invited me there for lunch. See, I don't mess with people's jobs. You told me where you work. That's all you told me. And you showing that you trust me. So what I don't want to do is violate that trust and start walking all in your job with some booty shorts on, talking about, is Ann here? Yeah, my friend Ann work here. Is Ann here? And then you done called in sick that day. And now I done brought you on the radar where now they looking at your attendance schedule and seeing how many days you took off. See, stuff like that. So what this narcissistic married man did, the job location that I told him that I'm primarily at, he said he went in there. And at the time he would have went, I would not have been at the front desk anyway. During the period of time he said that he came in there, because I would have been at a different location, or like in the back. But don't tell people your job location. I'm thinking because he's married, it's safe. I'm thinking, well, he's somebody else's husband. Why would he be showing up at my job? But I was wrong. I was wrong. You got to learn with me here. Don't tell nobody but the people in your household where you actually are working on a regular. Be very careful with that, because this narcissistic married man told me that he came in my job. And I just was like, okay. I didn't ask him if he asked for me or anything, because I'm basically in a passive aggressive way saying, why are you at my job asking for me? And I also didn't ask this narcissistic married man about what he was there for. He don't live in the city that I live in. So it seemed like to me that he specifically went there for me, or he just happened to be in the city I'm in and just stopped in there. But lesson learned, when you being a lady without a man is dangerous in general, and being a lady with the wrong man is dangerous. So both are dangerous. If you're a lady and you with the wrong man and he's dangerous, that's dangerous. But being a lady without a man is always dangerous. So I'm suggesting to all ladies and men, it's also a certain level of danger when you are a man that doesn't have a wife. You also have a certain level of danger in your environment because you are a man and there's no wife there. So if somebody comes and breaks in, there's nobody that can run and call the police. There may not be a witness for you if you're assaulted. But for a lady, it's especially more dangerous. So, ladies, when you don't have a man, or even if you do have a man, do not tell people where you work at. Okay. I gave you an example. If you work at Home Depot, you work in the warehouse, tell them you work at Lowe's or Walmart. Okay. Give them a different work location because this narcissistic married man, and this was before he started making more and more contact through this work phone where he's just on it, on it. He's very persistent with this contact, very routine. What he's saying to me is his radar is saying you're a target. Because remember, I talked about this in one of the old narcissist and text messaging that I did, part 7 and 6 and whatever. I talked about I'm the type of lady he used to be with before he got married. I meet the profile of the criteria of what he used to be with. So he's retargeting current victims or current potential victims that meet the criteria of his prior life before he got married. So before he got married, but he was able to pull those victims in because he was not married. Now he's trying to pull single ladies in while he's married. And males, they won't look at themselves like this. You know, I hate to say it. And I ain't got nothing against never mind, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say it because I don't think it applies nowadays. I really don't. Now since I gotta really use logic here. I gotta really use logic because I am noticing things have reversed. So I can't say that no more because I will be living in the past. Shorter men, average height men, I think they're on the top now. They're pulling in more supplies than taller men now. I think for one, a lot of the taller men that's over 6'2", a lot of them have already passed away. They've been shot, died of liver disease, alcoholism. A lot of those tall males, they're already deceased. They really are. I'm not happy that they dead. I'm not happy, but a lot of tall men. Do you know that the taller a man is, do you know that that can kind of tell how long his lifespan will be? Like if you go to a life insurance company and they you take one of those tests of how long you may live, it gives you a score and it gives the number of how long you may live. And it even asks questions like, have you ever been in a prior accident? How many accidents you've been in actually depict how long your lifespan may be. It sure does. And so from a life insurance standpoint, so actually your height, the taller you are, the lower score you will have for that evaluation. And actually taller people usually don't live as long as average height or shorter people. I'm not talking about like midgets and dwarfs. So if you are 4'10" and somebody is 6'4", statistically, the 4'10" person is considered to be someone that will live longer. Think about it. When you go to a funeral or even when you go to pick out caskets, most caskets are not very long. Most caskets are average in length, right? So just look at what you see. If your relative died of natural causes or got unalive, a lot of tall people are shot. They are statistically. I've seen this for myself. I always wonder, I'm like, I don't know if some of them are bullying people or whatever. I know one situation, one gentleman, he was at the liquor store. He's a sister, I know, baby daddy, and he was real tall man. He was not a good father to her son. No, I was very unhappy with the way he treated her and her son, her youngest son. But he was at the liquor store, and he was kind of maybe a little tipsy. He accidentally bumped into a shorter dude and knocked him on the ground. Because my friend baby daddy was real tall, and he was kind of a big built guy too, kind of chubby too. So he bumped this little short guy, knocked him on the ground. Now, look at it from a short person's perspective now, okay? A armed short person's perspective. The sister baby daddy coming out the liquor store, knocked the short man on the ground on accident, just bumping into him because he drunk. So the little short man on the ground. Now, you look real tall when I'm on the ground. A tall person looks like a giant. A short person will look different to me standing over me when I'm on the ground. Okay, than a tall one. So even though I'm short, when I'm laying flat on the ground, one of my sons standing over me and my ex-aware narcissist that's 6'4" standing over me, my ex-aware narcissist is gonna look real giant-like, right? 6'4". He's gonna look like a big giant while I'm flat on the ground. So say I got a pistol and I didn't know him and I was drunk coming out the liquor store. So this is what the shorter man did. Short to average height man that was on the ground. When he was on the ground, all he knows is he's been knocked down, and this big, tall, like 6'6" or whatever type of height dude is standing over him. He shot him. And my friend and this sister, her baby daddy's now dead. And he didn't go to prison. Because from his perspective, both of them in the liquor store parking lot. So the little shorter dude that got knocked down, he's really sober. So he thinks he's under attack because this big guy that's like 6'6", that's big, is pissy drunk and knocks him down. He don't know it's an accident. So he fall on the ground flat. He look up, he see this big giant. He pull out his pistol and shoot him in the stomach. Killed him. Sure did. Because in a situation like that, apologize as quick as possible. But this sister baby daddy was highly narcissistic. He was a crappy father. He might have been so drunk he didn't even realize what he doing. He might have had an attitude. I don't know how it went. He might have been like, so what, nigga, get up. But that little average height dude that was flat on the ground shot him up. Sure did. Shot him, I think, once. No more than 2 times, I think. And it was a big nightmare, but I had to think about what I was going to say. I have to use logic before I say certain things, because sometimes what I might say is outdated. And I was going to say that taller men can pull in more, but it's not true no more. And it probably never was really true. It probably was more of a stereotype, because to be honest, when I look back, a lot of tall men, and even the ones I know right now, they are single themselves. They're not married. Most of the married men that's really got a wife locked down with them, they're average height men to short men. So I'm glad I caught myself on that, because you got to be careful with stereotypes that that either or facts that are no longer true anymore, because we're in a different era. I'm not attracted to tall men like I used to be. To be honest, I am finding that those average height and short men, they real sexy, y'all. I think I missed out on some loving. I sure did. That and also I figured this out too. I never looked at this when I was, dating and getting married. But I think that a tall man, I began to think about this. Why does a real tall man want me and I'm so short? It took me some years to figure this out. But I said, oh, because he think I'm short. He think I'm gonna be scared of him, like I'm a good abuse victim. I truly think it's one of the things that even in my marriage that my ex-husband notated. He had a lot of tall women that he could have got with, but my ex-husband picked me because I was shorter. So from the surface, it seemed like I'm good abuse victim material, but oh, I was not. Never underestimate short ass people. They will kick your fucking ass, okay? They will pick your big ass up, slam your ass, throw your ass across the country, then shoot you and stump you out. Don't make them mad. Don't make short people mad, okay? There's no anger. All a tall person can do when a short person get mad at them is look down and ask for forgiveness. They gotta say, please forgive me, little midget. But yeah, don't make short or average height people mad. They'll fuck you up. And they're gonna fuck you up because they know that you think they a pussy because of their height. And you know what? When I'm in like a situation and I'm having a confrontation with a taller person, I don't like the way they look down at me neither. They look down at me like they know they could whoop me, and I don't like that. And that gives me the drive and encouragement to whoop they motherfucking ass. Cause I'm gonna be like, what you looking down at me for? What is this about? And so and all shorter people need to understand you cannot let a taller person get control of that fight, because a tall person can do that chop 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 on you. So yeah, you gotta keep the upper hand when you're fighting a tall person. My bestie I grew up with taught me that. She taught me how to fight tall people now. Cause yeah, that's a fight that I'm grateful for, because from that point on, when me and Shauna had that fight by the swimming pool when we was kids, and Shauna had that height over me, she taught me how to fight tall people. I never lost another fight with a tall person or got cut up and was bleeding. Because the tall person, they could take their nails and just grab you from the top and just pull them nails on down over your face. The next thing you know, you're like, am I bleeding? The fuck? Yeah. To this day, I got a little bitty little cut on my eye fucking with her. But I ain't letting no other tall person cut me up like that. But yeah, so I learned before high school. The proper way to fight tall people. Because I'm a good boxer. I got the boxing game on tight, and I got that temperament on tight. You make me mad, I could box, you make me mad. I'm more like a street fighter. Okay, I'm not a trained fighter. I'm a street fighter. So there's no rules. Okay, I could pick up somebody come up in here, I could take this device and knock all their teeth out. I'm not following rules. Okay, so and statistically, if you look up why street fighters win over trained fighters, that's why. Because the trained fighter has so many rules in their conscious and subconscious. The street fighter that can fight, okay, and a street fighter has seen a lot of fights. And another thing with a street fighter, they may have been in more fights. Okay. So anyway, I just get to talking, y'all. Going back to narcissism and text messaging, part 8 here. The married man. Um, with narcissistic married men, and I talked about this in one of my other lives about this, and I have a playlist that I'll put in the description box about this. I talked about this as well, how they're not really contacting you much on the weekends. I suspect that this narcissistic married man lost a side chick. I think he probably just ended something with a side chick, and he's used to calling someone that was his side chick at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. every day. I do. I really suspect this because the way this narcissistic married man is moving with me is something that he just lost. And it probably was a side chick. And remember, narcissistic men, H.G. Tudor would call them lesser narcissists, they need that supply. They need that. They need that wife and that side chick. Because a lot of them will be really unhappily married, y'all. So think about it. I mean, this has gone on for quite a while. I mean, I blocked this narcissistic married man around the middle of December. And I'm not going to unblock that work number. I'm not going to unblock the work number. I'm a lady that does not have a husband or a man. So I don't answer to other people's husbands. So I'm not going to argue with this narcissistic married man. I'm not going to explain to him why I blocked him. I'm not going to explain to him that he's disrespecting his wife. I'm not going to explain to him that he's disrespecting me. These are things that I do not have to deal with as a lady that doesn't have a man. So what I don't allow married people to do, just like say my married friends, they can't come on my porch and fight. I would tell them, you got to go home and fight. So I don't allow married people to ruin my life. Oh, now I'm going to give you a situation of many years ago where it worked out totally different. So I'm going to give you an example of a healthy situation where a empathic married man comes into your life and you're single. Oh my goodness. Now, let me tell you about the empath. Many years ago, this was over 2 decades ago, there was this black pastor, and he was an empath. He sure was. And I have interactions with him and his wife right now today. He was an empath, and there was a lot of empathic women at that church. So what did that mean? The pastor's empathic. He was one of the black pastors. He wasn't the head pastor, but he had got promoted. Now, he was married and had children. But guess what? His wife would not come to our church. I don't know why she wouldn't come. But this was an empathic black pastor. And I'm going to point out that he's a black man because I know y'all hear me saying that most black males will be narcissistic. It is true. Most of them will. However, if I find one that ain't, I'm really going to be proud of him. So this was an empathic. He had a lot of empathy and love, and he was not disrespectful. We all went to the same church. He was not the head pastor. He was like the he wasn't the senior pastor. He basically, yeah, he's up under the main pastor. Okay. And this was a non-denominational church. Okay. So they're not calling themselves bishops and stuff like that. So my mother was a bishop, y'all. She was one of the only lady bishops among all male bishops. She sure was. My mom, she actually was a bishop at one point in her life. So my mom was kind of like a man minister, y'all. So okay, going back to the appropriate situation, this empathic married man, this was over 2 decades ago. He was one of the pastors at the church, very handsome. Ooh, he was fine. Looked like candy, y'all. But there was a lot of empaths that went to this church. It sure was. This was not a church that was filled with narcissists. So we all felt sorry for him, okay, because we knew he was sad because his wife did not go to this church. I don't know why. I asked him why. I said, why your wife don't come to the church? He said she just don't like this church. She likes her own church. So this married man, him and his wife were both Christians, okay, but his wife went to one church and this particular pastor went to another, which was the church I was going to, okay? Now, he was a very loving man and he loved his wife. This was a loyal married man. And just because your wife won't come to your church, that's not a good reason to cheat. If you don't like it, don't come to your church and you feel like you're going to cheat, then you need to get a divorce. If that is a criteria that you have, that you mad because your wife don't go to your church, then get a divorce. Don't cheat on her. And he did not cheat on his wife. His wife went to her church and this pastor went to church with us. But the Lord was using him. He did so much good in my life, y'all. Now, this particular married man, he was empathic and he was my pastor. What he would always do was check on us. You know, like all these single mothers unaliving their kids. That wasn't going to be me because I knew this empathic married pastor was going to check on me. He checked on everybody, even the married people. He had a ritual and a journal, and he was consistent about his calls. When I look back on it, I can tell that he journaled when to call people during certain times. Because his wife would go to evening events at her church. They would not go to each other's church. I also think it was a situation where he wanted to be promoted as pastor. So this pastor of mine, he was an empathetic married man. He wanted to be promoted as pastor. And I don't think his wife church was accepting his gifts. I think that was one of the issues that was brought up. But check this out. None of us ever married. Not married. None of us ever messed with this empathic married man. And guess what? Right now, today, him and his wife live out of town. They're like kind of like retired now a little bit. This married pastor, this empathic married pastor that was filled with empathy and love, not a narcissist, y'all. Him and his wife live out of state. They still married and they now go to the same church. Ain't that beautiful? Ain't that beautiful? I miss him so much. Now remember, I didn't have a bond with his wife because his wife would not come to our church. So none of the empathic women got to know her. And I wasn't trying to know her. We was all kind of mad at her, y'all. We was kind of mad at her. Because we loved him, we loved our pastor, and we knew that way before we was using this word narcissist, we knew he wasn't no narcissist. We really did, and we thought that he was a decent man, and we knew that if we had a man like this, we would go to church with him. But I don't know what happened. See, that's one of those things where this married man, he never exploited his wife. He never talked about her like a dog. He didn't do her like that. But I missed them so much. I'm saying them because I see pictures of his wife on Facebook, but I wish that she would have came to our church sometimes. I wanted to get to know her better, but I'm happy. I was just looking at some of the pictures a couple of years ago, and I'm so happy that him and his wife live out of town. They moved from where I'm at. They live out of town and they both are in the same church. So beautiful. So that's an example of a situation where a married man is doing the right thing. And in this particular empathic married man, he would call me. He loved my oldest son. When I was going to this church, I hadn't had my younger two sons. I hadn't had Elijah and Daniel yet. So when I went to this church, I only had Isaiah. I had one son, and my daughters at that point, let me see, when I started going to that church, one of my daughters was at home for a while because I had one of my daughters in Isaiah, but I didn't have my younger two sons. So this pastor, they really loved Isaiah. They loved Isaiah a whole lot, you know. And Isaiah was their baby. He was. And a lot of people was around when I had my first son, Isaiah. And Miss Sonia, she used to say, that's your shadow there. Because when Miss Sonia used to come over and visit, she was a Christian lady. I had a lot of Christians and Muslims were around Isaiah. They sure were. Some Catholics worked at the school, the elementary school. There was a lot of really kind religious people around when I had Isaiah, and still are. They're still around. Like I said, our pastor is Norwegian. Okay, so Daniel, he's been saved and baptized. Isaiah prays. Elijah, he's on his own journey over there with whatever he's into now. But once they move out, don't be overly concerned about them. Let them live their life. But this is an example. This married pastor over almost 2 decades ago, this empathic married man, he never crossed the boundary. Never. And, you know, all the empathic women, one of them being me, we felt bad for him because his wife would not go to the church. And we wanted to be around her. We was hurt that she didn't come to the church. But come to find out, the head pastor of that church ended up being a whole criminal. And maybe this empathic pastor, he was a black man, maybe his wife had the intuition and knew that he was under a crook. We found out later that the head pastor was a whole criminal, y'all. We did not know that. Okay, we just thinking we serving the Lord. And the head pastor, he was this big old tall light-skinned man. We used to go to him and his wife's house. His wife worked for the government here, and we would go over there. They had this big, beautiful home. It was fun days, y'all. So that's an example of an empathic married man. So I always like to point out the good or the good situations if I can. But going back to this subject matter here, narcissism and text messaging, this is part 8, of course, more of the married man. When you are a single lady or a single man, you got to look out for yourself. Somebody else's husband is or wife is not looking out for you. It is not healthy. And you are never that lonely where you need to be taking calls from somebody else's wife or husband on a regular. It's very lowering. It lowers your self-esteem and your self-value. Do not help a narcissistic man or a narcissistic lady cheat on their spouse. Don't help them do that, because ultimately you are losing the best blessing that you have. And the blessing is you ain't got to live like that. You know how I feel right now being unmarried? You know, I had started a health insurance business in the basement of my home, and that was a good business. Potential income. I had a client, a durable medical equipment supplier, that was willing to pay me $5,000 a month just to work 20 hours a week, y'all. $5,000 a month back in the day. My ex-husband went in there, tore up my office, threw my stuff all around. You know, I don't have to live like that no more. Like now I can upload my YouTube videos. I don't have a enemy that I'm sleeping with. Um, I've never been with a man that really wanted me successful. I tell my sons this all the time. I could have been a millionaire, but I've never met the right man that really wanted that for me. Every man I've been with, like if I had a man right now, the type of narcissistic men I've been with, they wouldn't want me to be on this video right now. They would tell me what I'm doing is stupid. I got narcissistic relatives. They really don't support my channel, males. And I'm not talking about my sons that live at home. I got narcissistic relatives that are not in this house. And you could tell they don't like my channel. They never want to come on my channel. They don't support it. They don't like it. I had one narcissistic man in the South that he threatened to sue me, y'all. Crazy. That's how you know you've uploaded a lot of videos. When somebody has threatened to place a lawsuit against you. I said, okay, me and him not talking right now, but he told me, he said, I don't like your videos. I don't like your channel. Narcissistic males, they never support me. They play support me if I'm upset or sad. But for narcissistic males, if you're not upset or sad or grieving about something actively all the time, if you ain't going into no deranged active psychosis, if you ain't living that way, they do not support what you do. And I'm still a millionaire, but just not in finances, y'all. I got the $1 million in a lot of other ways. So I got to get my walking down, y'all. I'm going to be doing a video about blood pressure. I want to talk about blood pressure. So yeah, that's basically it, y'all. Narcissists and text messaging part 8. Block their work number. And these type of relationships, I'm gonna tell you, with narcissistic males, especially black males, white ladies, y'all will know about y'all white men more. I don't date white men. I have nothing against them, but my pastor's Norwegian. So he's a European man, but I don't date white men. So, but narcissistic black males, once you tell them no and you showing them no, I don't tell them no, I show them no. I'm showing you no when I no longer take calls from your work number. It's just not healthy for you. You know, narcissistic males, they families can prosper, especially if they're a lesser upper range narcissist. You know, like they're like a lesser narcissist, but they're at the higher of the lesser, or they're a mid-range narcissist, like HD Tutor would say. And HD Tutor's right. Most people will not be a greater narcissist or the ultra. They just won't. If they were that great, I wouldn't be figuring them out, right? So these narcissists are pretty easy to read and figure out. I got my cappuccino, y'all. So yeah, narcissist and text messaging part 8 is just not healthy. It's just not healthy at all to be in communication with them. So Daniel sends me a text message, y'all, right? Daniel says, you are a famous mother. You had 32 views. Yeah. Daniel, you know, I'm working with Daniel. You never forget this. I always tell y'all part of my life, right? So you got to remember, I have a narcissistic son. The middle one that moved out, so-called undiagnosed psychopath. So don't you think for 1 second that Daniel especially has not been affected by his influence. Narcissistic males that are around your children, they harm them, y'all, mentally in the mind. They're being harmed. So it takes a very strong person. Daniel, he has to fight off a lot of demons. My youngest son, I almost have to treat Daniel like as if I was married to an abuser and I kept the abuser in the home. Even though I got their daddy out the house because he was an abuser, Elijah took the abuser role, and his influence over Daniel and other children in the neighborhood. Elijah over there with the 2 babies he got that he's a step parent to, or if he their real daddy, I don't know. He hasn't done the DNA yet. He right now, the other day I was talking to Elijah, he calling those kids demons. Called one of the children a demon. And that's very unhealthy. I looked it up online, right? And this is what it says. And I stayed out of it. Elijah told me he not my protector. I can't protect those children. Hopefully, let me see. Let me find it. Referring to a child as a demon is not socially acceptable. Okay, and it says, it also says that in the long run, let me see if I can find it. It says in the long run that it's very unhealthy. I'll try to find that. Hold on, because I did a screenshot on it. Hold on, because this is what Elijah's doing over there. I think I Googled his calling. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Okay, so here it is. Okay. Hold on. So, okay, this is an example, so you can understand the struggles that I've had with narcissistic males, even in my own family. So, Daniel has been the greatest victim of my middle son, my middle narcissistic son. Okay. My abusive son, Elijah, the one that's moved out. So now Elijah, he calls the oldest boy of that lady he's with, he calls her child a demon. So what I did, I looked it up, right? So I looked up, is calling someone child a demon abuse. Okay, so it brings up this this article. So it says, yes, calling a child a demon, especially as part of religious or spiritual beliefs, is a form of emotional abuse, often termed spiritual abuse, and can be linked to other severe abuse, as it involves labeling, shaming, and instilling fear, potentially leading to physical harm in attempts to exorcise the supposed demon. It's a serious issue where a child's normal behaviors are misinterpreted as demonic possession. causing deep psychological wounds and disempowerment. But see, this is the thing. When Elijah calls that oldest boy, he's only about 1 years old. He's not he's lowering his self-esteem. I mean, the little boy not gonna have a chance. And I mean, I can't really change it. I just gotta protect myself from the whole situation. Um, so why is it considered abuse to call a child a demon? It's emotional maltreatment, especially a very young child. Now I could see if it's like a teenager stealing, and you're like, that's demonic behavior. Because now this is an older person that needs to be aware of demonic activity. But calling them that at one, that gotta be bad, y'all. So calling a child a demon is considered emotional maltreatment. Labeling a child a demon is deeply insulting, creates intense fear, and is a form of continuous emotional abuse, leaving no physical scars but causing significant psychological damage. It's spiritual abuse as well. This article says, because it says when tied to faith, it falls under spiritual abuse, where harmful practices or beliefs are used to control or harm a child, potentially involving accusations of witchcraft or possession. Okay, next thing, misinterpretation of behavior. Often a child's natural emotional responses, which could be anger, sadness, being overly energetic, are seen as demonic, leading to cruel deliverance or exorcism attempts that are physically and emotionally damaging. And Elijah, he's not doing no exorcism because he don't even love the Lord to get to the exorcism point. I mean, if you're gonna do an exorcism to get a demon out of somebody, you gotta love the Lord yourself. So that ain't what Elijah's doing. Narcissistic males, religion on the surface it can help them, but it hurts them in the long run. Narcissistic males don't do well with religion. So the next thing in this article, and that's not in the article, I'm saying that. The next thing the article says, calling a child a demon, it creates fear and trauma. It creates an environment of intense fear, shame, and guilt, making children believe they are inherently evil, stealing their self-worth, and traumatizing them. Signs and consequences. Children might become withdrawn, confused, or disoriented. They might develop extreme self-hate, silence, or resentment. It can lead to physical abuse as caretakers try to cast out the evil. In essence, using terms like demon to describe a child is a harmful tactic that isolates, traumatizes, and abuses them rather than guiding them with love and safety. But and Elijah knew I didn't like it, but I didn't want to go into no war because he called that child a demon. Because at the end of the day, he calling the little 1-year-old a demon, but who is the demon is Elijah and that child's mother. Those are the real demons. Okay. And the child should be a demon because look at how they act. I mean, they smoke dope and light up all kind of weed and bring all the liquor and shrooms and they don't the child is not in a environment that a 1-year-old should be in. It's just not. And it's nothing I could do about it. I gotta protect myself and stay away from that type of shit. But I'm telling this story not to devalue Elijah, but to just let you know when I'm doing these videos and I'm talking about narcissistic males and narcissism, I've dealt with it in my own family. And so Daniel, he has some struggles and he has some things that he has to deal with because he's been under the control and atmosphere of an abusive narcissistic male, which in Daniel's case is his big brother Elijah. Okay. So what do I do as a parent? I don't support the narcissism. I tell both of them, man, y'all not no good for one another, especially Elijah upon Daniel. Narcissistic big brothers and narcissistic males, they do not want their siblings to do well. That's one thing narcissistic males do not want for their siblings. They hold jealousy and hatred. And if you want one of your children to check off the earth early, if you got a violent, narcissistic black male, you need to educate your family of the danger. Elijah has threatened to throw Daniel off his balcony. Narcissistic males do not love their siblings. They cannot do it. Everything that Isaiah and Daniel does, Elijah talks about them and judges them. Yet Elijah has all these struggles that he struggles with. Narcissistic males, they don't focus on themselves and what they got going on. They need to focus on themselves, but they make horrible siblings. Narcissistic males are not good big brothers or little brothers to have. They're not. But this is the information that most black families won't share with their other kids. And this is why so many brothers and sisters kill one another. See, the average black family will not do what I do. Well, your brother say he gonna throw you off the balcony. You just go over there and say hello to him. He just miss you. He sure does. Your narcissistic brother miss you. That boy not gonna throw you off the balcony, Daniel. I don't tell people stupid shit like that. I don't. That's that what they call them, mammies, battle axes, and mules. They tell you that stupid shit. I tell you this: a motherfucker threatening to throw you off they fucking balcony. I don't give a fuck who they are. Leave them the fuck alone. Elijah has been threatening my son's lives that I know of, where I started reporting it since 2022. Going on 4 years ago, it was going on. And what I do is what a lot of parents don't do. I protect the narcissistic male as well. So see, when you know they issue and they flaw, if I know one of my sons is threatening to throw the other one off the balcony and go unalive the other one out in public or whatever, when I know this information, why would I want us to be one big happy family? That's not protecting the narcissistic male. What you're doing is getting the narcissistic male in prison. Because if he do it, then all these people dead and harmed, and the narcissistic male is in the penitentiary. You're protecting everybody by just staying away from each other. Just stay away. Everybody live their own life. But I know I will be judged. But the thing is, I'm in the situation, and I'm just letting y'all know when I do these videos, I have prior experience. I've dealt with it within my own sons. I know most black males are narcissistic as fuck. I've been with them since I've been a teenager. I've raised sons. And I just see how black males behave. A lot of it's genetic. They can't help it. Cynthia G used to say she feel like all of them should have been aborted. I don't agree with that. She lost her channel for saying that too. I believe this. Should all black males have been aborted? Absolutely no. They wanted the most beautiful children on earth, but they do need better upbringings and discipline. Discipline is, okay, you are threatening to throw your sibling off your balcony. You are threatening to unalive your younger sibling because you don't think when you throw him off your balcony that he's going to survive it. Then you cannot be around your younger sibling. A consequence. That's what needs to happen. Black males are not taught consequences. It's not that they shouldn't be born. They should be raised better and disciplined and taught consequences. And I'm not talking about how slave master did it. Take them to the woods and whip them in the back 50 times till they back bleed. That's abuse. But narcissistic males are hard headed and they need to be disciplined. Some of them may grow out of the behavior, but the best chance that they'll grow out of it is when people don't tolerate it. A narcissistic man, whether he's a married man, single man, or whatever, he shouldn't be taught that that behavior is okay. This video began with me talking about narcissism in text messaging, part 8. Remember about the married man. Why do you think I keep getting these calls from this married man that I blocked? Because somebody has allowed him to do that. His side chick that he had for the past 2 or 3 years have talked to him at 10 a.m. every morning. So it's like now you're dealing with an untrained animal. Now this narcissism text messaging part 8, this married man is now texting me, wanting me to corrupt my life. Having a narcissistic married man in your life and you at peace and you are not married and you don't have a man, it's breaking your peace, and it's chaos that you do not need in your life. Okay, I hope these videos are helping y'all a whole lot. So again, I want to thank Lucas. Hold on. Let me see. Lucas the Goldie 67, Retro Bowl GU, and then at Jamie Bonilla. Hello to Lucas the Goldie 67. Retro Bowl GU talked about being a moderator. Thank you for offering, but I gave you my perspective on the moderator stuff. You got to get to know people before you start asking them for stuff. And then Janie Bonilla, hello. And then the Kenya Millen, I like that wow and the explanation points. Thank you so much for that. And I'm gonna tell you some, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna use this comment as an example. When the person asks, I don't know if they're a lady or a man, when they ask, can they be a moderator? Notice they didn't even say hello to me, right? There was no hello, advanced insight. How are you today? Just went right in like they was just entitled to be my moderator. They didn't say, I don't normally leave a comment often, but I've been subscribed to you for 3 years now. I watch all your lives. They didn't give me no background, right? So YouTube is a business, y'all. It's a when you have a YouTube channel, you can now file business taxes. Okay. So just because I have a YouTube channel, I can file business taxes. Just like I did when I drove for Uber. Tax time, I filed business taxes. Okay, so Uber is more serious than you think. You could put it on your resume. So you got to handle it accordingly, right? I'm not no child. So when this person said, can you make me a moderator? They didn't say hello. They didn't explain how long they've been watching. Like they gave me no information about them, right? There was just this total narcissistic sense of entitlement that they should be my moderator. And I don't know why. So when people communicate with you a certain way, pay attention to it. Like, dang, can you speak? Say hello. Tell me your name. Who are you? Let's get to know one another. See, y'all, people come on this channel, they say, okay, well, she sounds like a black lady or whatever, but you got to go watch my video on my live when I talked about the Italian mindset. See, I might sound like a nigga, but you gotta understand I got an Italian mindset. And so it's like, speak, be polite, say hello, how are you? Can I be your moderator? I've watched you for 3 years now. I like what you're saying. I would love to be your moderator to support you. I mean, you can't just be coming out here talking to me like I ain't got an Italian mindset. Okay. And it's just the terminology I use, to explain it's more to me than just the traditional Negro. I'm not really the traditional Negro. That's why when I make some of the moves I make, it even surprised other niggas. Because see, niggas can be white people too, but it surprises people. I surprise people all the time when I say, no, I don't interact with that. I don't like violence. I don't want to be an abuse victim. I don't want to hurt nobody. People be like, what? You don't have a right to do that. You just a nigga bitch. But I do though. So see, the thing is when people come to this channel, they think they hearing a black woman, but I got an Italian mindset. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm not a desperate nigga. You just can't come in here. Can you make me mod? Not even spelling it out, man. That's disrespectful. Can I make you a moderator for what? Because that's what an Italian gonna think. What and why should I make you a moderator? Who the fuck are you? Let's start there. What would the Godfather say? You have not even introduced yourself. You're gonna come in my office? What would a Puerto Rican do? Like the Scarface. What Scarface say? I tell the truth even when I lie. Remember Al Pacino and Scarface? The dude said, where your stuff? Scarface had the Italian mindset. That Cuban mindset too. They got an Italian mindset too. He was Cuban. He said, where your stuff, man? You got your stuff? That's how Al Pacino talks. So I'm the same way. Can you make me mod? Can I be your moderator? Who are you, man? I don't know. So that's the thing. So, just learn a lot from this channel. And then this is the wrong place to come in here entitled. Because I'm going to see through it right away, y'all. So Narcissist and Text Messaging Part 8. The married man, more of the married man. You do not, when you don't have a man or a lady in your life, you don't have to be subjected to this, y'all. You are free. Take advantage of your freedom. And you cannot build a relationship, a genuine good relationship, with someone else's husband. And I do not try to build that. I don't mind being a friend of the family. I'll be that. But I can't be the friend of the family and behave like I'm your side girl. I cannot do that for any married man. None of that activity supports self-esteem, healthy self-esteem. So be aware of this. If any narcissistic man or woman, or any married man or woman, whether they are narcissists or not, I don't care if they're an empath. Usually empaths will not behave this way, hopefully. They will catch themselves unless they're very miserable in their marriages. Be careful with an empath too. They might want to be with you for real. They cheating on their mate, but they ready to leave. Now they want you to be the next victim. Beware of it all. Personality does not always matter. Building situations on the phone and having Narcissistic males tap into your energy source through that phone. A lot of demons coming through the phone. Them tapping into your energy source is not necessary. The good thing about me is I lose interest in people. So that's a good thing about my personality. Once I see you acting real disrespectful, I lose all interest. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this party. So that's a thing that I like about my personality. I want to talk about a real problem, like this narcissistic married man talking about his wife gone for 2 years and she ain't coming back. I don't have time for these little childish games. And that's the thing. See, because of my status in society, just because I'm not somebody's wife, I'm considered a play toy. I'm considered somebody just to call and like play on their phone. And I'm actually not. And this is why when a narcissistic married man, the longer he's been married, probably the worse he gets, because he is not living in a reality of how people that are unmarried really live. We're not all running around here wild and at the club looking for somebody's man. That's not what I'm doing, or a lot of other ladies like me are doing. It's a stereotype that we need a man. We don't. That's why we ain't got one. It is not a necessary part of my life to be dealing with some Negro's bullshit. I do not deal with narcissistic black males. I don't want to be married to one. I don't want them in my life, and I don't want to deal with their shit. And I have put myself in a position where I don't have to deal with their shit. And so that's why I click block. I got things I got to do. I was working on my notes to prepare for this video yesterday, when that narcissistic married man was contacting me. I didn't block the marital phone, but when he played that game and talked about his wife has abandoned the family and she's going to be gone for 2 years, and just willing to play a game to actually assassinate his wife character, I didn't like that at all. It showed me a very immaturity in this narcissistic married man, and I kind of lost a little respect for him a little bit. I did. It just was unnecessary, and you cannot change the way somebody views you. All you can do is get away from the situation. A narcissistic married man, especially one that's been married a long time, he's lost touch with reality. And the fact that a lot of ladies that are unmarried, I live just like he does. I don't have drama in my life. He might have more drama than I have, because it looks like he's getting away from some other side chicks. It looks like, to me, from my perspective, that he's dibbled and dabbled in some affairs. I caught him flirting around and acting like he want to cheat on his wife. I told him many years ago it's not right. So the audacity of a narcissistic married man to think I want to be with him in any way, I don't. Wives need to pay more attention to their husbands and notice these things, and be very leery of the devil you're sleeping with. This is why we got so much HIV and AIDS. Married women are getting HIV and AIDS more than ladies like me that don't have a man. They're getting HIV, AIDS, syphilis, herpes. They're getting all kinds of diseases. May the Lord bless their soul. And getting it from their own husbands. It's sad. Being betrayed. Remember that movie, Sleeping with the Enemy? It's not good, y'all. So I appreciate earlier when y'all held on for a couple of minutes so I could pay my bill. So if you rewatched the live and you noticed that I was paying my bill, please forgive me. I didn't want to end the live. I was very dedicated to my live, but yes. So I talked about calling a child a demon, especially a 1-year-old. It's very bad. So Elijah's doing that to his the older boy that he's caring for that's only 1 years old. It's not good calling a 1-year-old a demon. But I have to, for my sanity, I didn't say anything. Elijah knows me. He knew I didn't like it, but I didn't say anything. It's not new to me. Elijah did this with my sons. Before he was calling Kalen's baby a demon to me, he was calling my boys names all the time. My boys and me, we're his first victims. Never forget that. A narcissistic male, his mother is his first victim. The mother is the first victim. Okay? Never forget that. Everyone else just follows suit. The mother, then his siblings. The siblings are normally his second victims. Okay? A lot of it's just genetic. Like I said earlier, I'm calling them narcissistic males. However, HD Tutor would call them lesser narcissists or mid-range narcissists. Actually, what I'm describing as narcissistic males, HG Tutor would refer to these as lesser narcissists. They would be lower lessers, upper lessers, and maybe there's a middle lesser. Lower lesser, middle lesser, and upper lesser narcissist. This is what HG Tutor would call them. And he's right. I'm just using the term narcissistic males for my videos, but I'm just letting you know at the same time that from a expert's perspective, these are actually full-blown narcissists. What I'm calling narcissistic males that are in the Black community, HD Tutor would call them narcissists, and they are considered to be males that have no emotional empathy. Okay, this is what the expert would say. However, for my videos, these Black males are narcissistic males. That's what I'm going to call them for my video. But HD Tutor is right. If HD Tutor was telling me, no, those are lesser narcissists, I would not debate with them because I know he's right. HD Tutor would be totally right about what he's saying. What I'm calling narcissistic males, they are lesser narcissists. These guys usually don't have a conscience, and the ones that do show a little conscience is because of boundaries, and they've been they have a small level of empathy, and they've been disciplined, and they've been stopped and not allowed to do certain things. They're being raised better. It's how you raise your children too. But genetics play a major part in what the kids are around. I'm proud of Daniel for really trying the best he can. He's been through a lot, being the youngest son and having a narcissistic male big brother sibling that was quite abusive in the household for years. It's very hard for Daniel. And I commend Daniel. He's had to grow a long way, because Daniel's been raised up under a narcissistic male, being his big brother. Daniel sometimes is stricken with the spirit of a little slight jealousy, even of me. But Daniel's trying to fix this. Like I told Daniel, it's not normal to be a hater, especially upon your own mother. So Daniel's growing. Daniel says, "You are famous, mother. You had 32 views." So I text Daniel, I said, "Thank you, baby boy." And so Daniel says, "You're welcome, mother." And then I'm going to send us smiles. So, Daniel's coming a long way. I've had to teach Daniel a lot about how toxic jealousy is. It goes on in my family. It sure does. Narcissistic siblings will be very envious of you, and y'all can never be close that way. So, yeah, so Daniel, he's coming a long way. I appreciate him so much. I'm gonna put Daniel's channel down in the description box. And so please, let me write that down. So please subscribe to Daniel's channel. Please subscribe. So put Daniel's channel in description box. Do y'all have any questions before I end this live? At this point, I'm not looking for a moderator. I think that I have enough comments. I'm not getting too many, but some lives I do get quite a few, y'all. But I like to engage with my chat because it gives you more to talk about and you can learn more. So at this point, I'm not interested in a moderator. I have to learn more about, before I had my YouTube channels, I was a moderator on another channel. So I sure was, but the gentleman that I was a moderator on his channel, he ended up getting sick. He got skin cancer. He got skin cancer, y'all. So I don't know if y'all know that, before I was a YouTuber uploading videos and lives on this channel and my other small channels, I was actually a moderator. I sure was. And that particular YouTuber got sick and he started getting mad at me because, he was trying to quote scriptures and he was teaching his viewers that they should eat pork. And I was like, no, they shouldn't. But and then teaching them that pork is healthy and it's not. So he kind of on one of his lives, he started hollering at me and stuff. And so I stopped moderating for him. I didn't tell him I was going to do it, but I was his moderator for about a year. So I was a moderator myself. It was like myself and like 4 other ladies that was moderating on that brother's channel. And he had a way bigger platform than I have. So I worked as a moderator on YouTube before I started uploading videos here. I sure did. So just to explain to you that I know what it's like being a moderator as well, because I did it before for one of the bigger YouTubers. I sure did. But he got sick. He got cancer. He started disrespecting me on his lives and talking shit to me. I'm like, nah. And I respect people's platform. I don't have a right to tell him what to teach. If he want to teach people to eat pork, poison, because to me, that's what you're doing when you teaching people to eat pork. It's a form of poison. And it's no good. It's just not. It's disgusting. So I'm gonna teach here that you don't eat it, and you don't have to be in any sort of religion not to mess with pork no more. Just it's not good. So that's the thing when you are a moderator on somebody else's channel and they're teaching things that you're in disagreement with. You need your own channel. So that's why I had to get my own channel so I could teach what I want to teach. So, and I don't have much desire to be famous. I just want to teach and be a little popular and have fun here on YouTube and enjoy the time with y'all. That's all I want to do. And leave a YouTube legacy behind. Okay. So anyway, does anyone have any questions? In summary, narcissistic males, narcissistic married males, because this is narcissism and text messaging part 8, block their work number, After they made several calls, when they see you're not answering the work number, don't answer their family, marital phone, vanish out the situation, get out the situation. Don't interact with it. Some narcissistic married man telling you some crazy stuff that his wife has abandoned the whole family and she ain't really did that, and you find out she ain't did that, you got to vamp up out that situation. Don't play with it anymore. You got to let people know your time is a little bit more valuable. I didn't even mind them really venting. Okay, I'm trying to figure out where your wife has abandoned you for 2 years. Fine, vent, but make it a real situation you're venting about. It was the fact that he made up all of those lies. I mean, he just went too far for me. And I always sit in this. I don't have to be bothered with it because I don't have a man. I ain't got to deal with no man's bullcrap. I just don't. I love relationships. That's why I love being around married people. You know what I like? I like watching married people hug and, laugh together. I love watching happy married couples. It's so beautiful to me. To see a Black man and woman treat each other well and do it in front of people, it's so beautiful. And to see them do it for so many years. However, I want to see y'all do it and I want to go home so I can upload some videos. Because the average married lady does not have a YouTube channel and will not be allowed to have it. And her husband may not allow her to make time for her to have a channel. Or she might have to do it in secret. A married woman, husband might be jealous of her channel. See, I don't have none of those problems. So that's what I love to do. I like this narcissistic married man that I'm talking about with this narcissist and text messaging part 8. And what I'm finding doing these series and episodes of narcissism and text messaging, the energy of my text messaging, I'm so excited to see what's in it every day. Just like I just checked it. I just checked my text and got those positive texts from Daniel. I'm getting a medical text on medical information. I'm getting kind texts from my son. Then I got a cousin. She just had a baby boy, and she gave him the most beautiful name, y'all, but she's unsure as to if she's going to name him this name. Please pray that this little baby boy have his name that God anointed him to have. Please help him. The devil trying to take this boy name away from him. Please help my cousin name her baby boy the right name. I love this name, y'all. I'm not going to mention the name because she ain't gave him the name yet. But I am praying for this name. It's such a beautiful name. And the name has such a powerful meaning. It's a biblical Hebrew name, and it's a boy name, and it means endurance. This is a Capricorn man she just gave birth to. Capricorns are some strong guys. So his name is a biblical Hebrew name, and it means stability and endurance. And I want my little cousin to have his name so bad. I do. And she's still deciding. You know, when you're at the hospital, you're on them pain medications, y'all. My cousin is a little tipsy right now. She just gave birth. She on them pain meds. So she ain't sure what his name's supposed to be. But I'm like, remember, we came up with the name. So that's what I'm trying to influence here. Just being, I'm the big cousin. Okay. So I'm both of their big cousin, her big cousin and the baby's big cousin. But yeah, anyway, so going back to the subject, narcissist and text messaging part 8. More of this married man, you just don't need it, y'all. You gotta find you something else to do. You can't have people's husbands messaging you and calling you during business hours, 8 to 5. You gotta get your light bill caught up. You gotta make some payments. Rent time is here again. Mortgage time is here again. It's an intrusion. Somebody else's husband, a narcissistic married man, or a narcissistic married woman. It is an intrusion in your life when they are trying to come at you and break boundaries. They shouldn't have a lot of your time. It's okay to go hang out with people, but they can't have a lot of your time, because when you are unmarried, you have a lot of responsibility that you have to take care of on your own that other people are not helping you with. All I got is Daniel encouraging me with my YouTube channel as far as like family. I don't have nobody else. Okay. Isaiah supports me and stuff like that. I don't have a big group of people that's really supporting me. But y'all, my viewers and subscribers. But I'm talking about people that are physically here. Sister Sherry, she supported me from day one on this channel. So I want to thank her for all of her support. Since day one, there's a beautiful sister that's always said kind things and supported me. However, Sister Sherry is not in this reclining chair over here. This black reclining chair I got. However, I'm very grateful, but I'm just saying, as a unmarried lady, a narcissistic married man talking to often and having him in and out of my life, it does nothing for me but make my life worse. That's it. So anyway, y'all, please like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. And remember the narcissist and text messaging episodes. I have a playlist. I'll be putting that in the description box along with Daniel's channel for you to subscribe to Daniel's channel. And remember, when I go over these narcissist and text messaging parts, there's many parts to it. Okay. And I will discuss other subject matters within the video. Okay, keep that in mind. I will be discussing other subject matters. So again, please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much for everyone that participated in the chat and in the comments. Thank you to all my viewers. Thank you for the likes. Tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. Listen to the thunder, y'all. Narcissist and text messaging part 8. More of the married man. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, I'm at the door, mother.
Okay, I'm coming right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Again, welcome to Advanced Insight channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Listen to this thunder. It relaxes you, y'all. Thunder is relaxing. It helps you sleep. Here I come, Daniel. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Here I come, Daniel. Please like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Oh, y'all can hear the phone here. I had to open the door for Daniel, y'all. I had to open the door for Daniel. Please like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Hopefully you enjoyed the live. For whoever just came in, please click a like and rewatch or replay the live. I'm going to release it to the public right away. This is Narcissist and Text Messaging, Part 8, y'all. More of the Married Man, Part 8. Thank you. Bye. Tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel.